At People's Capital Group, we help you invest in real estate. Build your wealth by owning professionally managed apartment buildings in the northern New Jersey market. We want to show you how owning real estate is attainable, even for the busy professionals that don't have the time or experience investing in real estate. Now, we only work with select people who are serious about building wealth. So find out if you qualify at peoplescapitalgroup.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Passive Cashflow Podcast. I'm your host, Aaronfragnito, and today's topic is for savvy investors: how much does an apartment complex cost? So we come out with a new episode every week here on the Passive Cashflow Podcast. Be sure to hit that subscribe and like button so you can follow our episodes here and learn more about how to passively invest in real estate and just all different investment topics as well, not always about real estate. We're going to break into it today, though. This is a very real estate specific topic. And again, we're going to talk about, for savvy investors, how much does an apartment complex cost? So, what all investors need to know about apartment buildings. All right. Of course, apartment buildings are a very common way for people to build wealth in real estate, but they are a very complex way as well. There's a lot of moving pieces to them, and there's a lot of capital required to buy them or build them and maintain them and manage them. And it's taken us years here, People's Capital Group, my business partner Seth Martinez and I, we've been through it all. We've dealt with management companies that didn't perform and mismanaged buildings that we buy for discounted prices, properties in foreclosure and things like that. So we've dealt with troublesome apartment buildings and realized that, hey, it's all about improved management and knowing how to deal with apartment buildings and how to manage them the right way. So one thing I really like about apartment buildings is you can scale up easily with them. Okay, we've fixed and flipped houses for years, and that's actually harder to scale. Even with wholesaling, that's a hard business to scale as well. So something like apartment buildings, you can scale up with them. As we build our management company, we can manage more and more units. As we buy more properties with our investor group, we can build wealth for our investors long term. And it is part of the business that is a little easier to scale than, say, fix and flipping. Also, apartment buildings can appreciate rapidly. So what we do is we focus on finding mismanaged apartment buildings, buying them for discounted prices, improving them so they earn stronger rent, increasing the rent roll, lowering our expenses, finding out more ways to make forms of income on the property, and improving the amenities as well. And this allows us to create more value in the property and force the value up. That's called forced equity. So not only do we buy it for a good price, but we also improve the value of it by all those features I just spoke of. So at the end of the day, you can really exponentially increase the value of an apartment building. Also, the way that an apartment building is valued is it's based on a formula taking into account their net operating income. So the more net operating income an apartment building earns, the more it is worth. So as we streamline the maintenance of the building, we renovate every single unit, we expand the property sometimes or invest in other projects nearby as well. Those are all different ways to expand the value of your apartment building and, of course, in time, create more and more value for our passive investors. The tax benefits of apartment building complexes, we have tax deductions. Every expense we have managing and maintaining an apartment building, that's a tax write-off. Also, passive income advantages. See, our passive investors enjoy the tax benefits of being a passive investor. They get a passive tax write-offs. They're also taxed at a passive investor level, which is a lower tax level than an active investor. Also, apartment complexes and all real estate in general offer depreciation, so you can depreciate part of the value of the real estate over time, and that allows for additional tax write-offs. And then, of course, we have the 1031 exchange here, so we can sell the property and trade into a bigger property over time, deferring all taxes. And that's a good way to also take advantage of that amazing tax tool here and just expand your wealth exponentially, defer all taxes. And that's one of the greatest benefits of real estate and in general, and especially apartment buildings. So let's break into now apartment building cash flow here. So one of the best benefits of owning apartment buildings is the cash flow. We do feel that it's more stable than perhaps single-family homes or other short-term rentals or things like that, because we have longer-term leases with apartment buildings. They tend to be on 12-month leases. So this allows for a reliable income from the property, consistent income, and most people do rent when times are tough, so it's kind of a recession-resilient asset as well. So those long-term leases allow for consistent cash flow for our investors and more stability on what the building produces. Okay, let's break in now to apartment building construction costs. So how much does it cost to build an apartment complex, right? We've talked about buying it for discounted prices, improving the value of it by improved management and physical renovations. But maybe you can't find a good discounted apartment building for sale, and you're saying, you know what, I'm just gonna build one. So how much would that cost? Well, it varies. Of course, a cost per square foot is a good overall quick measurement of how much it would cost to build really any type of real estate, especially an apartment building. But that could vary depending on the type of building, location, the marketing, where costs are, and labor. It could go anywhere from $100 to over $400 per square foot. And quite frankly, anywhere around here, you're not building for $100 a square foot. You're more towards the $400 number. The national average cost per square foot for building an apartment building is roughly $270, although that has probably increased since we had wrote this article just a few weeks ago as the cost of materials and labor continues to increase. And according to industry statistics, the average cost to build an apartment complex is anywhere from $4.5 to $50 million. So obviously it depends on the size and the quality of the building, the location, and so on, to determine the cost of how much it costs to build that apartment complex. Now, you can also base your cost to build an apartment complex on the type of building you're building. Okay, there's a number of different types of apartment complexes. We have the high-rise apartment complex. Those, of course, are beautiful high-rise city structures that we see in inner city areas. That could be anywhere from $230 to $450 per square foot to build a high-rise apartment complex. They could be different floor plans and finishings. They can include studio apartments and lofts, multiple bedroom units, penthouses, different amenities, security personnel, gyms, spas, pools. So all these things are going to affect the price of how much it costs to build a high-rise apartment complex. Then we have mid-rise apartment complexes. It's going to be a little more affordable, between $180 to $270 per square foot. A little less units as well, tends to be a dozen stories or so, up to about 200 apartments. Due to their height and size and occupancy, mid-rise complexes have two-sided corridors, often elevators, gyms, eateries, and other amenities. Then you have low-rise apartment complexes. This is kind of what we focus on, like garden-style apartment complexes. Tend to be about like 3 stories high, something like that. A little easier to manage overall. More common around here as well, like West Central Jersey and North Jersey. Although in more densely populated areas, you have all different types of apartment complexes. These will cost between $155 to $240 per square foot to build generally. They can include stairwells. Maybe you avoid having an elevator. That's going to save money, and so on. And the smallest type of apartment complex you can build is the infill apartment complex. This could be anywhere from $100 to $200 per square foot. Of course, it depends on location and finishings as well. But this is kind of taking maybe a single family home or existing structure and turning it into an apartment complex, a very small one at the end of the day. This can be profitable and a little bit easier, but also has a lot of complex issues when it comes to zoning and legal requirements to turn an existing property into an apartment complex. So, other apartment construction costs every investor must know. So, here are some hard costs when constructing an apartment. Of course, you have landscaping, you have your walkways, your parking areas, your concrete and so on, and the cost to maintain this landscaping as well, the sprinklers and whatnot. The construction materials, that's a huge variable right now. They're very volatile, the cost of construction materials. As inflation increases, that's had a hard hit on the cost of construction materials, which shoots the cost of construction up. And then labor. Labor's gotten very expensive as well, especially specialized labor, specialists, people that know how to operate heavy machinery or those big cranes or pour concrete or do complex type of specialized work, electric, plumbing, framing. all these things cost money, and you need good help, good labor to do these jobs, right? You can't just hire a handyman to build an apartment complex, right? So you need specialized labor, and that costs money. And then systems installation, HVAC systems, emergency systems, electrical wiring, plumbing, water, sewer, all this costs money as well. Of course, you need even more licensed, specialized people to do that. And you better bet they're going to charge you more for the more licenses it takes to do the job. Interior design, all right, maybe you're good at buying real estate for good prices, but you're not great at interior design. Well, if you're going to build a whole complex, it has to be designed the right way, set up the right way with the right floor plans and decor and finishings and amenities so that your tenants want to move in there. Site features and amenities, of course, as well. And then there's soft costs to apartment building construction. So we have financing fees, the cost of your money, ground service costs, companies and security personnel, maintenance companies to maintain the grounds, legal fees, the taxes, permits, insurance, architectural and engineering fees as well, and the list goes on. So, final considerations here in conclusion, building apartment complexes is an extremely complex, complicated process. And there's a reason why companies that specialize in construction of apartment buildings just focus on building apartment buildings. It's a very specialized place. And quite frankly, if you're getting started in real estate, it's not realistic to consider building an apartment complex. Now, if you want to own apartment complexes, that is realistic. And there's companies that exist to help people own apartment complexes that have no experience investing in real estate or owning or building apartment complexes. Or maybe they do have experience owning real estate, but they want to get into bigger and better buildings and are having trouble transitioning into that. So that's why companies like ours exist, to help people transition into owning things like apartment complexes. They're big, they're expensive, they cost a lot of money to maintain, they're very complicated to build. So what we do is we buy discounted apartment buildings, we improve them with our in-house management company, and we create value for our investors so they get to enjoy the benefits of owning real estate, such as tax write-offs, equity growth, and cash flow, without having to do all the heavy lifting behind the scenes, knowing every cost, knowing all the ins and outs of developing and managing and improving mismanaged apartment buildings. And that's what we focus on doing here at People's Capital Group. And that's why hundreds of people have enjoyed investing in real estate with us here in New Jersey. So if you want to learn more about how we help people invest in real estate, go to peoplescapitalgroup.com. Maybe you're on there right now enjoying this podcast. Maybe you heard us on Spotify or Apple iTunes or YouTube. By the way, if you did, click the like button, click the subscribe button. Let's keep connecting there. But go to our website, peoplescapitalgroup.com. Enjoy all of our content there, weekly podcasts, webinars, blog posts. And then when you're ready, click register to invest, get qualified, set up a discovery call with me, Aaron Fragnito, and let's connect. Let's talk about your investment goals and see if our investment goals align. And hopefully they do. And hopefully we can start building wealth together in high demand real estate. That's it for me today. Enjoy your day and keep building that wealth.